love slating. Let's talk about ACen.
Actually, we didn't introduce ourselves.
Hey, I'm Dan.
And I'm Mark. And we're talking to you guys a little bit differently today. Instead of our music videos, we're actually going to be talking about ACen.
ACen.
And for those not in the know, ACen is an anime convention that went on just recently, this past weekend, in Rosemont, Illinois. And there was 30,000 people maybe?
Or more, yeah.
So we just want to kind of talk about our experience there. And then Dan was actually cosplaying as...
I was cosplaying as Ed Elric from the anime Full Metal Alchemist. This was my second ACen. I went last year for a day and a half, didn't cosplay or anything. My first convention, thought it was awesome. So I saw all the cosplayers and didn't realize how many people actually did that at these conventions. I thought it was just a handful of them, but there are seriously people who go out and do this, and they look amazing. So I definitely wanted to be a part of that. This is what year ACen for you?
I don't know. This is probably my fourth ACen.
Holy cow.
I've never cosplayed myself. I always think it's so cool. And to everyone who does cosplay, mad shout outs to all those people because the guts it takes to do it, and then also all the time everybody spends and just looking amazing. It's just so awesome. And then, yeah, I just don't even know. I kind of wish I could, but I don't know why I haven't.
You should.
It was
awesome.
But we took some photos of your cosplay as Ed, and I think it got some pretty positive reception.
Yeah, I mean, so the first day we tried to keep count of how many people asked me for a photo. We got lost somewhere in the 60s. And then I wore my cosplay all day again Saturday. It had to have been well around the same number. So it was a good, over 100 people asked me. I was very flattered. I thought I did a good job, but I wasn't expecting the amount of people to ask me for a photo that did. So thank you guys.
Now, is that number good?
I don't know. I think so. It's my first cosplay. I don't know.
But we're gonna show some photos probably somewhere during this time, just so you guys know what it kind of looks like. But I mean, it just seemed I was following the Facebook posts that he was just kind of sharing with everybody about the progress, and everyone had really awesome things to say about it.
Yeah, I said, I built this arm and this full metal arm for Edward Elric, and I don't know what to do with it now, and people are saying that I should sell it. People are give it to me, it's so cool. And I'm okay.
But so I mean, and one of the things I noticed is that a lot of people were asking you how did you make it? Who made it for you? Where'd you buy it? You did make it after all.
I did. And when deciding to cosplay a character for ACen this year, I always loved Full Metal Alchemist. I started watching it when the original series came out. I never read the manga. And then as of recently, just this year, I watched Brotherhood in its entirety and thought it was amazing. So I don't know. I kind of always liked the character Ed Elric. I always thought, he was just this awesome character. And I always thought it would be really cool to do his automail arm.
Right.
I've seen it done before. I've seen it where cosplayers have it really big and bulky and it doesn't look like an arm anymore. It looks like something slapped on an arm. I've also seen cosplayers do it where they don't have mobility, they just stick their hand out like this and
really it's a cast.
Yeah, and it doesn't look authentic or real. So that was one of the big challenges when I did this, was I wanted to be able to have as much mobility as a real hand as possible. I wanted to articulate my fingers, be able to write stuff with a pen. So that was the main thing for cosplaying this character, is being able to achieve that, keeping it as thin as possible, having that mobility, but still make it look authentic and real.
So why don't we get a little bit of a close-up on the arm?
Yeah.
Just people can see some of the detail.
So the arm is actually in 4 separate parts. I've got this shoulder piece here. That, I mean, this piece, I guess, kind of goes onto myself. It's attached with these two strings here. This was sort of like a last minute thing. I whipped this up together the day before ACen. I mean, there's not much to say. It's kind of wrinkled here. I really wish I had more time to put more thought into this because the shoulder was kind of bulky up here. The bicep itself turned out pretty good. I previously made a bicep. It didn't look quite right, so I revisited, revamped it, scratched the old idea, attached the elbow part down here, added the 3 plates on the side, and then the forearm is actually 2 parts. So the top plate comes off via Velcro, just like this, and then that's how I actually put it on my arm, because I slip my arm through there. Now there is a long like latex glove that actually runs all the way up from the arm to the top of the bicep, and then the hand is all glued onto that glove. Originally I was going to have Velcro here to make it easier for my hand to slip in and out of the glove, but I decided to scratch that idea because again it looked too big and too bulky. And then all of the fingertips, again, just glued onto the glove. Really, that's about it. All of the parts used are foam, like craft foam, wrapped in this vinyl material to make it look like real metal. I actually used the tops of screw heads in various parts around the whole armor just to give it a more realistic feel. Originally, I had wrapped the fingertips in that vinyl material, but it didn't look quite right. It looked too bulky, it looked too weird. So I revisited that. I had seen some guys on the internet like use Plasti Dip on foam, kind of like seal it off. So I used that and spray painted over the Plasti Dip, and originally it looked too much like metal.
Right.
It made it like super shiny, and it
compared to the rest of the...
Right, exactly. It looked like chrome on a car, which would have been awesome, but the rest of the armor wasn't that color.
Right.
And when I tried to spray paint the rest of the arm that color, the spray paint didn't stick to the vinyl, so it didn't look like anything other than what it already was. So I used a clear coat, and it kind of toned it down a bit and made it that sort of same silver that you see on the vinyl. So like the fingers are all fully articulated. I can move my wrist around in here over the forearm. I can bend my elbow. And then as far as the bicep goes, I had limited mobility, but I was still able to like lift my arm up. Yeah.
Now let's show the front camera here, the whole arm. So here's a look at the arm in its dangly form from the front.
Dangly form.
Very dangly.
So dangly.
But yeah, the fingers are like, super, movable. And it looks like, you could like do stuff in it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's the thing that I kept getting from people at Anime Central. They kept coming up to me and saying what an awesome job it did, or how awesome it looked, because it didn't look like craft foam. It didn't look like I just spray painted something and slapped it on my arm. It actually looked like metal, like an arm. Ugh. So I guess it achieved what I wanted to. So that's good, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. What are some maybe things you wish you did differently for next time 2.0?
I'll be honest. What I really wanted to do and what I really wish I had more time to...
Just cut your arm off.
Just cut my arm off and just hire an engineer to craft me an automail arm. No. So... But what I originally really wanted to achieve was I wanted to be able to not only have the arm, I also wanted to do Ed's leg, because I feel like when many people do Ed cosplay, they either skimp out on the arm altogether and just do the white gloves with the red coat, which is fine. I mean, that's his character. He wears that a majority of the time. Yeah. But when you see the arm done, you never see the rest of them. You never see the legs. So what I ideally wanted to do was like tear off the pants or like a leg of the pants, like battle damage, what have you, and do a full automail leg.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Not only that, but then I also wanted to originally sneak a blade inside that arm so I could clap, hit some sort of mechanism on the arm, and have that blade extend out.
That would be dope.
That would be super dope. Do people say dope anymore?
I don't know. We just did. So, I mean, yeah, I think the response overall was pretty good. I think people who are curious, it's kind of insightful, I guess.
Yeah.
And, like, what kind of trouble did you have when you were trying to get ready for this in terms of, like, you know, getting references or just, like, how-tos?
So there's a lot of source material online. I found a website that actually had templates of the arm, which was helpful. When you find templates online of a certain thing that you're trying to cosplay, I don't recommend printing off those templates and then investing the time into making something from those templates, because 9 times out of 10 it's not going to be sized to you. It's going to be sized to some 12-year-old girl, and I'm a 6 foot
12-year-old girl.
12-year-old girl. And I mean, it's not worth it. So I found templates. I kind of used that as a reference. So I printed some of them off, didn't cut them out, but kind of saw how some designs went.
And then obviously using pictures from the actual show.
Yes, I found a lot of... I tried to stick with as much like pictures from the show as I could. It was kind of difficult because in Brotherhood he goes through
kind of different, right?
He goes through like 5 or 6 different arms, and I didn't notice that. At least I don't remember in the original series. It seemed like in Brotherhood, Winry was fixing them up every other episode, which is cool, but it was kind of like, oh crap, which arm is which?
Right.
Whatever. But yeah, you definitely used a lot of that material, and then I also found helpful cosplayers who have done it, so I could kind of see what has been done already, what kind of looked like it had worked for cosplayers, what didn't, and that kind of stuff.
Well, that sounds daunting for someone who's never done it. I kind of watched you do it, and I'm just like, what the... I don't even know. What about for people who might want to do something like this? I feel like it's a big step for a first-time cosplay.
It is. So, I mean, I guess I already had some experience with doing costumes before. Not that I've ever cosplayed before, but I have a degree in theater. I've worked in a costume shop before, so I'm familiar with like materials. I guess the biggest thing I would say to a first-time cosplayer is like, don't overthink stuff. Like, take your time in doing what you want. Pay attention to detail, because that's the kind of stuff that people are gonna look at and notice. So, I mean, even if you don't have things exactly right, if you have like the little screw heads, or you have like, I don't know, the fingertips that look just right, people are gonna see that and go, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the kind of stuff I look for too when I look at people's cosplays, is I look at like attention to detail rather than the whole picture, because you could have a really pretty cosplay, but if you're missing something here or there, it's, you know, it's gonna be like, well, whatever.
I guess it depends on interpretation too.
That's true.
Because there's always like fan versions of costumes and things. So
Yeah, definitely.
I guess it depends on what you're going for, and as long as you have fun doing it.
Yes.
I mean, you can tell when you see everybody at the conventions, like they're like super excited to be there. They're super happy to show off their cosplays, and like you can tell that the time they spent was like, you know, they had a blast doing it, and it was great seeing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, like, out of all the Eds I saw, there were like really good like automail arms that I saw. I saw one guy even had his arm painted. It looked amazing. He told me it took 3 hours for his friend to draw the automail on his arm. I'm like, well...
And I remember that guy. And he's like, I was like trying to keep everybody away from my arm
like
too.
protecting his arm just so he didn't get silver on him.
Yeah.
But it looked amazing. Like, if you just look at the photo, it like looks like an automail arm. It doesn't look like his hand until you really look at like, the fingertips or something. But
yeah. I mean, I had a good time. I mean, on top of the automail, I mean, you were dressed as the rest of the character. It wasn't just the arm, but I think that's like the biggest thing everyone just pretty much notices right away for an Ed cosplay.
Yeah.
Is always the arm, but the rest of it was there. We'll have pictures to show you so you guys can see it all. And then if you guys, are more interested, I guess we can kind of go more into detail about it, or you can rather. I'm just kind of whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, if this is something that you guys want more information on, I can go into detail on how I attached the vinyl onto the foam, what kind of glue was used, what kind of materials, what kind of tools, all that kind of stuff. If you really want to know, I can do tutorials on how to make something like this. Because it doesn't have to be an automail arm. I feel like the techniques I use to make this thing are pretty universal in whatever kind of armor
Anything
or
metallic looking.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, if people are interested, we can take a look at that. Otherwise, I think this will help answer some questions people had. That we're posting on Facebook. And
yeah, I got a lot of likes on the photo, and definitely a lot of people wondering, it looked really good, I saw you, best Ed I've ever seen, how did you do it? So I hope that this helps you kind of give a little insight on how I did it, and like I said, if it's something that you want to see more of, we can definitely do that for you.
And yeah, I guess before we're leaving, where can people find you? They want to stalk you on the interwebs?
If you want to stalk us on the interwebs, you can check out youtube.com/HiroEcks.
Here.
Otherwise, you can find both myself and Mark on Twitter, at Daniel Hart.
I'm at HiroEcks, just like the
YouTube.
Yeah.
Cool. And then I also want to do a special shout out to my friend Lindsay for being my Winry. Thank you so much for dressing up with me. The photos we took turned out awesome, and it was super fun to see you there. I think a lot of people took our photo in the Hyatt, and that was super cool. And then I also want to do a special shout out to Maggie's Revenge on Tumblr. She also, I found her on Tumblr and dressed up as Winry. And I just said, oh, hey, I'm going to be at ACen dressed as Ed. And she was like, oh, my gosh, that's cool. And then we met in real life, and it was just a cool interaction. So, thank you.
Go Internet.
Go Internet.
Anyways, we'll see you guys. Leave comments and subscribe.
Yep. Bye.
See ya.
But I won't shed a tear for you. I'll be dying, I wish for